Okay, so this is Tea Time with Templeton on March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Les Brown, the district's Communications and Technology Director, and I'm the host of today's webinar and Q&A session. That's the first time that I've managed to successfully introduce myself at the beginning of one of the videos, in which every other video I'm just this anonymous voice that keeps talking. We are here today to talk about the Drug-Free Communities Grant and our wonderful Unite Washougal Community Coalition, which have been doing really great work in our community on helping youth and families make really great healthy choices and avoid substance abuse. Today we have Dr. Templeton, Superintendent of the Washougal School District, and we have Renae Burson, who hasn't yet joined us, but will be here in just a minute. She's our Assistant Superintendent. We have Board Member Angela Hancock, who works with the Unite Group. Margaret McCarthy, who is with the Unite Group. We have Amara Farah, who's a student at Washougal High School. Wendy Butler, who's a prevention specialist and works at multiple of our schools. Vitali Turlac, who works with ESD 112 and is also a prevention specialist, I think. Lisa Bennett, who is the district's COVID officer and athletic trainer and involved in a bunch of other efforts here in the district. And finally, Betty Gable, who's one of our administrative assistants and kind of an amazing partner to the Washougal community in helping support this really great work that's going on. So with that, I'm going to remind people that if you are in the audience, and currently that's just one person who is watching, you can use the Q&A feature to submit questions for the panel, and we'll help kind of guide those to people that we think can answer them. If you need, you can also chat with us. We have the chat turned on so that you can communicate with the panelists today. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Templeton.
Well, thank you, Lester. I appreciate that. Again, here we are, Tea Time with Templeton. We are also recording this, as Les described, so that we can provide the information for those who weren't able to make it today, so they can learn about the wonderful programs that we're working on together. And that is our theme, partnership today. For the Tea Time with Templeton. As I think about partnerships, I recognize that one of the 6 pillars of the strategic plan that the school board adopted, taking us into 2025 to reach our goal of aspiring to be a top performing school district in the state of Washington. One of the critical partnerships, or one of the critical pillars rather, is partnerships that support students. And I can't think of a better partnership than the one that we have with the Drug-Free Communities Grant, with the federal, at the federal level, but then the Unite group that partners strongly with the school district, involves our community voice, our student voice, our parent voice, so that we can, as you think about kind of surrounding our children and our community with that positive influence that helps them move to that place we aspire them to be, top performers and fully prepared to move into that next aspect of life. When we think about the work together with the Drug-Free Youth Grant and the work of Unite, we're thinking about healthy communities. Healthy communities are where healthy children grow up, and hopefully where healthy children return and invest and become part of the next generation of healthy community members. And that's the big idea, and that's our goal. We can't do that independently, and many times schools have siloed, and we have been apart from community and our parent partners. During the time of COVID, now more than ever, we've realized how important relationships are, how important those really authentic, strong partnerships are to move the work forward together. As we are bringing our students back, and we are very excited, I'm sure you've been tracking our news. Our good news is that we have all of our children back, K-12, for several days a week in person. And Amara, welcome back in person. This is exciting. Just brought the high school back about a week and a half ago. We are now moving, our next step, of course, is to bring back our elementary children for 4 days a week. And then from there, we are certainly eyeing all the safety requirements and guidance from the Department of Health, as well as our local health officer, as we process how do we get children even more opportunities as we move forward. But as we're thinking about that, we also are recognizing the keen eye for support of our children who have been away from us for almost a year. Support around the mental health wellness of our children, their social wellness, their emotional wellness, of course, their academic wellness. We must accelerate. We have to. And part of what Unite, and you're going to hear some great information from our folks today, part of what they do is they make sure that we are investing in that aspect. The school district must continue to find other ways as well to support our children as they return to us, to find that place where we're all together again in person, full time. And then finally, I just wanted to comment on the pillar that I believe sits within all of the other 6 pillars of the strategic plan, and that is our pillar of equity. As we think about knowing, nurturing, and challenging all students to rise, we must make sure that we indeed know how to support all of our children. We must understand how to create those communities, as I was just talking about, that are filled with hope, and that children understand and grow into resiliency. So again, this is also critical to the work of equity as we lead our district towards places where we have disrupted systems that are oppressive. We have disrupted systems that perpetuate bias, and we offer opportunity for all of our children to rise to their futures. Again, I'm just thrilled with our guests, so I'm going to turn it over to them. And I'm going to, first of all, though, highlight that our Assistant Superintendent, Renae McMurray, has just joined us. The work that this wonderful team has been leading with Margaret McCarthy has been under Renae's leadership. And so I would just give her a couple moments to introduce herself and then say a few things about Unite, and then we'll turn it over to Margaret McCarthy.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I was having some technical difficulties logging in. So kudos to Betty, who came in and helped support me get back into my computer. So for Unite, I've been working with Margaret since I accepted this position, and it's been really exciting to see the evolution of Unite, focusing on our youth and making sure that we have a community that is healthy and promoting the positive things about Washougal, and just how we've really worked hard to make sure that our youth is involved in leadership decisions in Unite, and also programs that support the health of our youth. So with that being said, I will turn it over to Margaret so she can talk a little bit more as our director for our DFC grant and a member of the Unite Foundation or coalition, sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Renae and Mary and all of the executive team for your partnership and for inviting us for this opportunity to speak. I want to start with a little story. I'm going to keep it brief because we have so many other wonderful coalition members and volunteers here. And but it's a story about trying to help people. And people are walking along a river, and they see somebody in the river, obviously struggling and needing help. And so they dive in. They're good swimmers, so they dive in and they help this person out of the river. And they feel good about themselves. The person is saved, and everything is great. Well, they come back the next day. This is their place they usually walk, and they see 2 more people in the river. So they dive in and they help them out, and those people are saved, and they're getting a little exhausted, but they're able to save those people. But then they find this is a regular occurrence, that there's more and more people in the river. And so they decide, you know, I'm going to go upriver. I'm going to go upriver and see why are people falling in. And some people might, you know, pick on that person and say, well, you have to save these people right here. You have to save these people right here. And they're like, I can't save these people if I can't find out why they're falling in. So they go upriver and they look at what's happening upriver. Is it a fence that's down? Is it a bridge that's out? Is it that there was a big mudslide and it's really slippery? And that's what we do in prevention. We go upriver. We definitely want to help people who are having trouble with substance abuse issues, or who are in recovery. We want, it's all of us together, but we go upriver to look at what the root causes are in our communities, in our families, in our organizations, in you know, through bias, through all of the things that are happening, that all of the things that act on us as individuals and that we react to in our environment, and look at those and say, what's the root cause of what's happening here? And so about 8 years ago, we were able to do that, and we were able to get a couple grants. One of them was really about direct services, and that's our Community Prevention and Wellness Initiative. And then our wonderful community came together and they applied for a drug-free communities grant, and that partner that stepped up to help us with that was the school district. But it's more than just the school district's partnership. It's throughout the whole community where we need all of us to work together. It's a team. We can't fix these complex problems or begin to even address them if we're not working together in communication. So we have 12 sectors that we need for our drug-free communities grant. And that is our youth, parents, law enforcement, schools, businesses, media, youth serving organizations, religious and fraternal organizations, civic and volunteer groups, healthcare professionals, state, local, and tribal agencies, and other organizations involved in substance abuse prevention. So I'm hoping that when you hear that list that you might say, oh, that's me, I'm a parent, or I'm involved in a civic organization, or I'm involved in a faith-based organizations, I could help. I'm involved in media, I could help. Because it takes all of us. It takes all of us to support our youth, to support our families, to give them the opportunity for voice, to give them the opportunity to be empowered about their choices and the changes that we can make in our community. So I'm really excited to let the rest of the talk be by all of our volunteers and all of our teamwork. And this is only a small portion of the team we have working in Washougal. We'd love to have you join us on our team. There's big and small ways to work together for health and wellness in our community. And the one program that I'm going to highlight is called Sources of Strength. This is a suicide prevention program. And even though it's mental health focused, it's really about resiliency. It's really about taking what you already have in your life and growing that. This is operating at the high school. We have about 15 youth that have been doing this meeting virtually, which is pretty good to have youth that want to meet virtually. And we're hoping to bring that in person over the next several months. And it's about them recognizing the strengths they have in their own life. Like, for instance, do they have a mentor in their life? Do they have perhaps other healthy friends? Do they have healthy activities? Do they have other, what we call coping mechanisms, like physical activity, or maybe they have a meditation practice, those kinds of things that they can do to grow their resiliency. And that's kind of really what we talk about with everything we do, is how do we take the strengths we have and grow them? And we have many, many strengths in this wonderful community. So I'd like to introduce Vitali Turlac. He is our Community Prevention and Wellness Initiative Coordinator, and he's a great asset to our team. And he's going to talk about some of our other strategies. We have multi-tiered, multifaceted strategies that are evidence-based and data-driven. And he's going to share with you 2 of those strategies.
Yes, hello everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here and get to know some of the new people, important people in Washougal. I come from Eastern Europe, as you can tell by my accent, and since Margaret shared a little bit of a story, I'll quickly share mine just very briefly. I come from the culture, which is a very collectivistic culture, which is a bit different from what we have here in the United States. And with that set of background, I think it's super important to invest into families, especially into family bonds in our community, specifically in Washougal community. So with having that mindset personally and the same goals in our coalition, we have established a wonderful set of direct services. So by the direct services, I specifically want to highlight 2 classes. The first class is Guiding Good Choices, and the second one is Incredible Years. So both of these classes are obviously going to be offered this year in a virtual setting, but I just want to spread a little bit more word on that, specifically on Guiding Good Choices. This is the class that is geared towards enhancing family bonds and communication skills for parents, for caregivers of children from 9 to 14 years of age. This class is going to help support increased coping and conflict management skills for parents and children, and while maintaining the positive communication and connection, which is super, super important considering the times we live in. We're super busy. We don't have time to communicate with our kids. So I think this class is going to be super beneficial. It's actually starting tonight. We have a first orientation happening at 6:30. We have flyers. I believe we're going to share those flyers with you friends later on. So this is Guiding Good Choices. The second class that we're going to offer in our Washougal community gonna kick in late this month on March 30th. It's called Incredible Years. That's another parenting class. However, it's focused more on parents with babies. So basically, this class is designed to help parents get to know their new babies and learn how to encourage physical development, enrich the environment, share experiences together, offer needed support, and all the science, and the evidence points to the fact that after taking these classes, family bonds are improved, like parents-children relationships are getting better. So we're super excited that this year, regardless of the COVID times, we can still offer that in a virtual setting. Thank you.
And our next volunteers is Betty Gable, and she's going to talk to us about positive community norms.
Hello, as she said, I'm Betty. Positive community norms are the social norms that we have in our community. A norm is the actual behavior or the attitude of the majority of the people in that community. And a perceived norm is your idea of what people think happens. And the reason positive norms are important is because we try to get everybody to, we're prevention. So we try to get everyone to, if they're ever going to use, to do it later in life, because it helps them not become addicted and have a problem if it starts later in life. So we want to change the norms in our community so that they choose to do what they think everybody else is doing. They choose not to drink because all their friends don't drink. They choose to go be active because all their friends are active. And that's what we want to do. We want to change all the norms in our community to positive things. So we have the HOPE framework, which is healthy outcomes from positive experiences. And it's not just, oh, I hope everything gets better. It is scientifically based that if you pay attention to the positive things in life and you make those grow in your life and in somebody else's life, those experiences can impact their health in the future. People who have bad childhood experiences, they have heart disease and depression and things like that. But if we have more of the positive experiences, then we can negate all of those bad things, because the positive experiences makes the connections in your brain change so that it works better and it's not focusing on all the bad things. We don't just say, oh, everything's wonderful. We also have the concern of things that are still not happening, bad things that are still happening in the community, because bad things still happen. So we're still concerned with those things. We're not pretending that life is wonderful and glorious all the time. So our community norm that we've been working on is, we have a campaign out and it's called Love Your Life. We have some advertisements in the grocery carts at Safeway. And just to show the wonderful things that people are already doing in their life here in Washougal, the activities that they're doing. And we're going to have a video contest where we would like people to send us in videos of them doing a healthy activity. And we will have one winner from several different age groups, and they'll win a gift card. And then we'll put those videos on our website and our Instagram and everything, so other people can see what's happening in our community. That's for the positive. And now I would like to give it off to Angela.
Thank you, Betty. So following the positive community norms, we have a campaign we just started working on. First it was called Sticker Shock. I think it changed it to Sticker project, so it doesn't sound so shocking, based on the positive community norms work that we're doing. So, which is there is positive in our community and it is worth growing. And so what we're doing is with our youth and kind of guiding our youth, going in and collaborating with local businesses in the community that sell alcoholic beverages, and talking to them to work with them and to try and help prevent substance use before the age of 21. And that also includes adding in adults that would purchase for those people, for youth. So what we have come up with is a sticker campaign, and the stickers all say, in case nobody has seen them yet, thank you for protecting our youth by not providing alcohol to minors. And beautiful stickers, they stand out in a positive message. So right now, our group has worked with Washougal River Mercantile, with 5440 in Washougal and the Washougal Market. So far, there's stickers in all of those locations that the youth and some of our volunteers have put on the products, hundreds of stickers. So hopefully everyone will see that. And we're just trying to spread that positive message to adults that, you know, it is not normal. It is not the norm to provide for our youth. And so maybe, you know, that message will come across that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be providing for youth. So it's really exciting. We're going to continue this work and try to collaborate with other businesses in the area. And so we're always looking for more youth that would love to join us. It's a fun group. It doesn't take a ton of time. We meet up, put the stickers on, talk to the businesses. So if anybody is interested, please get a hold of us, because we would love to have you join our team and spread that message of, you know, prevention for our youth before 21 with our substances. And so I wish I had a picture to show you guys. I don't have any stickers, but we'll put something out there. You can visit our website and stickers are on there. So it looks like I am passing it off to Amara Farah.
Thank you, Angela. Yes, so my name is Amara Farah. I am a senior at Washougal High School. I've been involved with Unite for 6 or 7 years, I believe, and I'm going to talk a little bit about youth engagement today. So youth engagement is incredibly important and incredibly vital to unite a community. Engagement provides opportunities for youth to not only meet others in the community, but to be exposed to a myriad of resources and possible experiences. Youth get to have a voice in the changes that they want to see implemented in their community, and it also provides the community with the opportunity to hear the youth's perspective. So it's really a two-way street. Involving youth is a wonderful way to strengthen our community. For example, something we're doing now that involves youth engagement is the beautification project. Myself, along with my friend who's also a senior, Taylor Vincent, instigated a project where we wanted to include youth from the high school and middle school to try and make Washougal a more welcoming and beautiful place. So a brief rundown of the project. What we're doing right now is there is a 10-foot worn down liquor sign towards what I believe it's the end of Washougal River Road. It belongs to the Washougal Food Center, and we met with the store owner and offered to replace the sign for him with a mural that will be of Mount Hood and the Columbia River. We had youth in the community vote on a saying that they would like to be on the sign, and the saying that people voted on the most was "You are enough." So you can look forward to seeing that hopefully within the next few months. I don't want to put a timestamp on it because of COVID and everything, but we start painting this Friday. We are working with WACA, Unite, obviously, teachers from the high school, as well as, youth from the high school and youth from the middle school, as well as business owners. The hope for the beautification project is not just for this one signage, but to provide multiple opportunities in the future for things like this, to make this a rolling project where we could have competitions where students present their own designs and ideas that we could implement. Because we want to provide youth with the opportunity to create what they want to see in the community and for it to be implemented. And we are so lucky to have such wonderful volunteers and members of the community that support this vision and allow it to be possible. So thank you. I believe I am passing it to Margaret and Betty.
Thank you, Amara. Thank you. It's so wonderful to get to hear you guys talk about the projects that you're in charge of. Amara and Taylor have been in charge of this project, and we're just really proud to serve alongside you guys. So, and I just wanted to mention that you can check on our Facebook. We have everything updated on there probably 3 or 4 times a day by our lovely Angela. And also our website is very current and kept up by another one of our volunteers, Jennifer. And so everything is on there. You can look on our events page as a place to sign up for Guiding Good Choices or Incredible Years. And I did want to mention that those are free classes. And there is, we try to make them fun, and there's some kind of incentives, possibilities of, raffle prizes here and there, because we want to get fun. We know that you're giving up your time, but we know that it's also for a really great thing, which is for your family. And so I want to kind of change our order and have Lisa Bennett go next, because besides being our COVID responsible person and a great Unite volunteer, she's also our athletic trainer, and you just never know when those athletic people might need her. So if you can go and talk about the thing that you are our team lead on, I would love for that to happen.
Sure, I would be happy to. So I am the team lead for the biannual drug take back events that happen in Washougal in April and October. And we partner with the Washougal Police Department to offer a location for households to take back medications to have them properly disposed of by having them incinerated. And our police department is gracious enough to host that site for us so that we can help remove unwanted, unused medications that are sitting in medicine cabinets and kitchen drawers and kitchen cupboards, and that helps keep them out of the hands of youth that might take someone's old prescription medication, hoping that it might make them feel better or feel numb. And we want them to not have that temptation. And in October, we had 159 households that dropped off medications. And that was 427 pounds of medications that are removed from households. And it's just been a wonderful opportunity to support our community in a way that they just can come in and do it. And they don't even have to, it's a drive-through experience. It's just so seamless for them. And we get such great feedback that they tell their friends and their neighbors, so that then the next time we do this, they come, and it just continues to be such a huge community embracing event that we just are so privileged to do. So watch for the banner. The city's going to be putting it up in the middle of April, and there'll be signs. You'll see them at the roundabout areas and stuff to help guide you to the police department. And just please spread the word. It's a wonderful event that does so much to protect our families.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. And we just have one more speaker after I speak. Betty can join me, or anybody else can in this part. We just really want to talk about the data and what we've seen over time. And I think I might have mentioned before that connection is the best prevention. It's really about building relationships. And we've seen that time and time again, that when we can empower, educate, and give our youth and families voice, that they are doing the things that are healthy for them. And so we want to grow those kinds of things. One of the things we really want to keep in the forefront of our thought processes, and Betty mentioned it, is that reducing use and delaying use prevents addiction. That the teen brain, the youth brain, is not fully formed until 25 and perhaps later. And so that substances such as alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, any kind of non-prescription drugs not prescribed to them, those affect the youth brain differently than they do an adult brain. And that's what the big deal is, because sometimes you think, well, what's the big deal? We refer to our own childhood or our own experience, but when we know better, we want to do better. And so we know that the science is telling us how the brain of a youth is different. And so we want to do better for these amazing youth we get to work with and have in our community. And so if we can prevent addiction, what kind of, how do we change that trajectory of that person? What's that lifetime impact if, like, for instance, if smoking, if that person does not have a smoking addiction later in life and does not have, lung cancer or other things like that. I think there's a lot of people that would say, if I'd never started that when I was smoking, if I'd never started that makes a big difference. But there's other things that we can do. It's really about what causes people to start, and how do we provide training when it comes to communication within families, about problem solving. We're all going through stressful times, perhaps with COVID, and growing up can be stressful. It can also be joyful. How do we help that joy grow? How do we make those stressful times opportunities for families and youth and in our community to, like we've done with COVID, to pivot and maybe make it an opportunity to thrive or to learn new things or to come together. And so it's that all of those pieces together that makes a big difference in addiction in our community and in our families. So we talk about risk and protective factors, and a risk factor could be if you had a high density of alcohol outlets in our community, which luckily ours is a little bit lower than state normal. If you had, if you have stress in your life, if you have a poor communication style in your family, how do we take away the risk factors and improve the protective factors? So some of that is our parenting classes, is our skill building, is working with policies. We have 7 strategies for community change. And those strategies are what guide us to say, how can we reduce barriers? How can we give support? And always the center of our focus of our strategic planning wheel is about sustainability and cultural competence, which we can never really have cultural competence. There's so many words out there that don't quite reach what we're trying to do, which is make everyone feel seen, valued, and heard. If we're going to change the dynamic in our community, we need everyone to help with that, and so that everyone has a place at the table and a voice in a part in that transition. So our data comes from the Healthy Youth Survey, which is 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th graders, and we have been able to actually have some successes. It's a long game we have to play, but over the last 4 years, we have reduced the actual substance use for alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, and non-prescription drugs in both middle school and high schoolers. And because of this, we were recognized on a national level with the transition team for the new administration to say, okay, how are you doing that? What does that look like in our community? So that's all of us together. That's each one of us striving more to communicate. It's striving, looking at what we can do together as a team with Unite, filling out our surveys, attending our classes, volunteering. Come to the table and tell us your perspective so that we can do this better for our community. And with that, I would like to introduce Wendy Butler, who will just talk a little bit about what she does, because it's another partnership that's between ESD, Washougal School District, and Unite that puts in position Wendy Butler at the middle school and Tatiana Gwyn at the high school to be there as a support for prevention and substance abuse treatment, prevention for our students. And Wendy, you can fix what I said if I didn't say that right.
I think what you said was wonderful. Thank you so much, Margaret. Thank you for having allowing me to be a part of this, Dr. Templeton. I'm so excited to be here. I've been involved with Unite, I think 6 years now, something like that. And my name is Wendy Butler, and I'm a student assistance professional. I'm employed through ESD 112, but I'm placed at the 2 middle schools here in our community in Washougal. And like Miss Margaret said, we also have a student assistance professional at the high school, Miss Tatiana, and she's just a wonderful asset. She's new to our team this year. And there are student assistance professionals that are placed throughout the state. My job is to work with students individually, but I also work with students in small groups, and then I get to do large universal activities at our schools. And that's, I have to say, when I talk with students and parents and teachers, I'd say that I may have one of the best jobs in the district, quite frankly, because of working with middle schools and just the energy of the middle school students, but the teachers and then the parents as well in our community. This last year, I had the opportunity to work with all of our 6th graders in middle school. So it was working, with them transitioning into the middle school, but also I worked with them on a prevention education series. So we talked about things like coping skills, help them to identify healthy supports in their lives, and we focus on things that they can do in their life to choose success. Unite is just the most amazing organization. If you're a parent or a person in our community out there and you're thinking, hey, this Unite thing kind of sounds like something like I might be interested in, they are the most welcoming people, and we need people that are good at all different kinds of things, because together we are stronger. So if you're that person that's quiet, guess what? We need you. If you're that person that likes data, we definitely need you. If you're a person that's loud and crazy or wants to be involved with students and kids, we need you. Some of the activities that Unite has helped support this last year in our middle schools: Red Ribbon Week. It's a national prevention week, and we celebrate students making healthy and good choices. We did things like Rock the Red Road, where some of the families put red ribbons out on their road, whether it's on a mailbox or their fence, that kind of thing. We also did dress up days at the school, as well as there's a national contest where it's a photo contest where students decorate either their garage or their door in support of choosing to live a healthy and safe life. And Unite's able to support that. They get us t-shirts and all kinds of swag and fun stuff so that kids are excited and want to be engaged. Recently, this year, one of the good things that came out of COVID is we were able to start a cooking club. And that's a part of the Club 8 after school program. Tracy Stenchfield leads that at both the middle schools. And students are so excited. We have one of the sessions, we had 58 students involved in that cooking club. And we've done things like making mug cakes or making pretzels, homemade pretzels. Who doesn't want to do that, right? And so the GFWC Women's Club also helps with that. So Unite tries to get so many people involved in our community, so many different organizations, and they were involved helping to separate the ingredients out, and then we went ahead and handed them out to students, and students were able to cook at their homes. We have a parent volunteer, Miss Dawn, that helps teach that. So that's one example. We have so many different examples. We've done vaping prevention, for all the students in the middle school as well, and getting kids involved with that. We're doing a spoken word where students are able to use the power of their voice, and Unite is looking at the possibility of creating a contest. So if you're a student that likes to write, you could, our students are amazing writers. Just listening to them is great. They could be writing lyrics to songs. They could be writing poetry. Some of our middle school students are writing books currently. And we're looking at a way to do a contest. So we're using student input with that. And then the last thing, there's so many other things that Unite's doing, but the last thing I wanted to touch base with is there's an event called La Chispa, and it's a youth leadership event for students of Hispanic descent. And the meaning of that is called the Spark. And students will be meeting 5 times on Wednesdays. They'll be bused. Unite's helping to support that with t-shirts and busing and some snacks as well. And the idea behind it is dream, learn, and serve. And students will come 5 different times. We'll use students from the high school that'll help lead. And then we're getting students from Clark College to help with that. So it's just kind of this trickle down event that is going to provide support for our students at our middle school. And so, like I said, if you can't tell, I'm totally excited about it. I love all that Unite does. And if you're a person that's sitting there saying, I'd like to be involved in our community, but I'm not quite sure how, Unite is a place to come, and you can talk to myself or any of the panelists about it, because we really do want to get as many people involved, and students can be involved too. So if you're a parent and you're like, oh, I think my student should be involved, we have a lot of opportunities for them as well. So I see that, I think Les put that the La Chispa flyer up in the chat. And then I think at this point, we're moving towards some questions if there are any questions or comments. Is that correct, Miss Margaret?
Yeah, so that's the point in the webinar where we're opening it up for questions, and we kind of want to know if there are anything. I know that you guys have done a really great job presenting kind of the breadth of all the programs that are being offered in ways that people can learn from that work and then also participate in it. But if there are questions we can field those for different people here on the audience, or on the panel. And we'll give our audience member just a second to think of a question if she wants to do that. Otherwise, we will wrap things up.
Well, as we're thinking, let me just say thank you to everybody. Your positive investment in our community is clearly working, so thank you for that. Your positive energy is visible to everybody who's watching. Much appreciated. I do have I do straight talk, so here we go. Before we entered into the COVID experience at the high school specifically, so Amara and perhaps Wendy, if you have any input here, we had a challenge, although the Unite data from this Healthy Youth Survey says we're going in the right direction and we've made great gains. And by the way, that transition team was for President Biden, and Unite was one of, I believe, 8 local coalitions from the entire United States that was highlighted as a successful coalition that knows how to get stuff done when it comes to helping create positive community norms and healthy children. So that's stunning. And I was just like, wow, you guys rocking it. So that's great. But you know what? We are transparent here in this district, and we say that's fabulous. We still have work to do. So before we shut down for COVID, and now we're back open, vaping was kind of at the center of one of our challenges. When I was your age, Amara, that was like about 175 years ago. It used to be that smoking cigarettes was the thing, and that's kind of gone away because it's not the popular thing to do. But vaping has kind of taken its hold. What are anybody's thoughts on where are we now as we're returning to high school, and we're open for 2 days a week, and I'm hoping for more days here in the near future. What's our plan? What should we be doing? What's working?
I'm happy to jump in, and I'm sure others will jump in after me, but vaping is a very real issue for our students. And I think that, the truth is, if you look at it, Dr. Templeton, you hit the nail on the head of, vaping today is like smoking was back in the day. And so in talking with students, I recently did a goal setting workshop with some of our students, actually at both of the middle schools, and it was on sport and setting goals, healthy life goals. And when students look at vaping, we want to look at, kind of like the why, like what is the why? Adults can look at kids and say, oh, they're vaping, that's bad, you shouldn't do that, it's that kind of thing. But we look at the why. And so for talking, if parents are talking with their students, or teachers, or anyone's talking with someone that's young, it's kind of like, why? What is the why? Is it that students are doing it because they feel like they're getting pressured in doing it? Are they doing it because they think it's cool? Are they doing it because people around them are doing it? Are they doing it as a coping skill? Because, you know, we know that nicotine is very, very addictive. And so for students to look at what is the why, and then also I think it helps to identify students when they're younger and talking to them about, you know, what is their vision for the future? What kind of person do they want to be in the future, and talking to them about that and asking them, is it helping them or hurting them, the path that they go on? And that can be toward anything, you know, for students to look at, is this going to help me in the long run, or is it going to hurt me in the long run? But I think that we go back to, you know, connection is the best prevention. And if each one of us look at the young folks in our area around us, even if you're a high schooler, look to help the middle schoolers. If you're a middle schooler, look to help the youngsters. If you're an adult, look to help the teens, right? And if we can do that and build that connection, then that's the key right there. That's where we can start. That's a starting place. And then, you know, coping skills, we all need to learn positive coping skills. So for us to, you know, talk about it and keep it real with our students.
I think there's a nice connection there too, Wendy, with the relationships and sources of strength that you mentioned a little bit earlier, Margaret, and how that program focuses on building relationships as well.
Amara, you look like you had something to say.
Yeah, to address Mrs. Templeton's comment, towards the end of last year, when vaping was it was a major problem in the high school. It wasn't just, you know, those who were involved in the community that wanted to speak out. I had friends who are extremely shy be like, I want to do something about this. This has to stop. And so we we had like a huge group that met after school, and we went to the office and we're like, hey, is Mrs. Clark available? We'd like to express some, you know, thoughts and ideas with her, you know, respectively, because we wanted to be heard, and we wanted to hear what like the administration had to say too. So it was that communication and those the sharing of ideas and perspectives where we could strive for better change. So as far as going forward, I don't know what the situation is like now at school because I'm fully remote, but I would say just listen to the students. I think that if they're concerned about something, there's, you know, a reason that might be worth looking into. And I would also say listen to the kids who are vaping too. Like Margaret said at the very beginning, finding out the root source and the root cause is a big factor in trying to prevent what's happening.
Yeah. I'm really intrigued by the positive community norms concept and the science of positivity. And Betty was referencing that. We did, and Unite helped fund a training for teachers with University of the Montana Institute, I think is what it was. So when you think about that, and I think about our youth, sometimes they think, well, everybody's doing it, so there really isn't a reason why I shouldn't do it. But if we can get to a spot where we actually can communicate, did you know that actually everybody isn't doing it? And what most kids are doing are positive things. They're doing cooking class, and they're doing theater after school, and they're practicing their piano, Amara, and your other instruments. That's what they're doing. They're having fun, and they're hanging out and having good, clean fun. And that's what our youth are doing. If we can get a campaign going that says, did you know, actually most of us, we're making really good, healthy choices, I think that's going to be really helpful. And so I know that that's part of the work of Unite, and I am eager to support the high school, of course, the middle schools as well, and our superstar leader, Principal Clark, as she moves forward to help. But you know what, Amara, it's going to take the students working. We need to work together. And on my list of things, my bucket list is to create schools where the children's voice is critical for making decisions, critical for solutions, and that our children are not passively going through an educational system, but they're actively engaged. So there's a lot of, that means a lot of more work for our children, but also a lot more responsibility and I guess power to help us, the adults, collaborate and move forward together. Anywho, so that was my thinking.
I love it. I love it. Well, there's a saying, nothing about us without us. And in some communities, we know there's government programs that come in and they seek to change the community. And that's why this model is so different. And because Coalitions is about us as a community working together. And, if you're here to tell us we have things we have to change, then there's the door. But if you want to work alongside with us, then let us begin. When we can work alongside together, let us begin. And Amara and her team had worked such a great job. We were like a week or two away from that big event of having like a panel coming in, with the youth and resources for smoking cessation. And really what I admired about them, one of the most things was they came to Ms. Clark by themselves, and then Unite came alongside, but they also wanted to make sure we weren't vilifying, those who had been vaping, because as this is what we have to kind of really look at when it comes to equity, is that we're all doing our best. How do we do that better? And that we have, when we have people that are addicted, it's a disease. And how do we as a community come alongside each other so that we can have healthy brains and we can get through these things together, and not perpetuate the addiction and perpetuate the stigma that makes it so people cannot get help. So that's great stuff. Thank you so much, everyone, for all your great work.
Okay, well, with that, we are nearing the end of our time together today. The recording for this is going to be posted out on the district website, which is at www.washougal.k12.wa.us, as well as we'll post some information about that to our district Facebook page, which is at Washougal_SD. I'll put the link for where the video is going to be posted on the district website in the chat box, so that those of you that are here want to snag that, you can go directly to it. It'll take a couple hours before it becomes available then. I want to give a big thank you to Dr. Templeton, as always, and then to all of our special guests today. I think you guys did an amazing job sharing about this work. As somebody who's worked here for a really long time, I think the positivity of this group and the steadfast focus on using data to guide ways to change the community and putting all these really amazing resources into the hands of parents and students is just a really great way to deal with this. So with that, I'm going to end the recording and then we'll sign off.
Thank you.